Good afternoon, members. I, Deepak Pandya, Company Secretary of Adani Power Ltd, is pleased to welcome all the members of the company to the 29th Annual General Meeting of the company, which is being held through video conferencing. Along with me, our Managing Director, Sri Anil Sardana, and Chief Financial Officer, Sri Dilip Kumar Jha, are present on the dais. Now I request, first of all, to request moderator to unmute Mr. Tamal Majumdar, first of all.
I've gone through the annual report, analyst presentation, and have some queries. And as usual, seek your indulgence. So, power supply to Bangladesh Power Development Board, BPDB, after changes in design during last year is a cause of concern for us. As per page 581, the company sold power to Bangladesh valued at around 7,939.64 crore. As regards power supply from Godda power plant to Bangladesh is concerned, it was explained by Mr. Jha at the earnings call conference on 1st May 2025 that on gross basis there lies an outstanding balance of $900 million, including delayed payment surcharge claimed of 136 million. He also mentioned that the Bangladesh government already admitted and accepted 50% of the delayed payment surcharge. It is to be noted here that due to further depreciation of Bangladesh taka against US dollar increases our total dues from them. Whether they accepted the remaining 50% of delayed payment surcharge of $68 million as on date, and whether the company further raised any delayed payment surcharge claim as on date, and what is the current PLF of Godda plant, and whether the company is supplying power to Indian states in addition to supplying Bangladesh. Please share your thoughts, sir. So, our profit for the year impacted hugely due to abnormal decrease in delayed payment surcharge from 8,666.15 crore to during financial year 24 to a mere 949.33 crore during financial year 25. It is in 422 page. It is also good sign that our purchasers are paying regularly during financial year 25. What trend you are noticing during financial year 26? Sir, you in your speech, in your presentation, you mentioned that organic capacity addition of 12,520 megawatt will take place by March 2020, or from 57 months from to date. And if we consider at least 6 crore per megawatt, then it requires nearly 75,000 crore. What will be its share? What will be its financing? Whether it will be from internal accrual or it will be judicial use of internal accrual as well as loan also. Sir, average PPA tariff for financial year 25 of our company was 5.60 per unit. As regards merchant realization during financial year 25 is concerned, it was on an average of 5.93 per unit. Though in Q4 in financial year 25, it was 5.03 per unit. Whether any change is being noticed during the current year in respect of both PPA and merchant power tariff. Your view please be shared in this respect, sir. Sir, Mr. Khayalia mentioned in the conference call that entire coal of 14 million metric tons per annum from 4 coal mines will be used for merchant capacity around 300 megawatt, as PPA-based plants will have coal linkages from states. In this connection, I want to know that whether the proposed coal supply will make our merchant realization much profitable in comparison to our competitors. And total megawatt sold as merchant power during financial year 25 and your expectation for financial year 26 is to be disclosed. Sir, it is noted that the company planned a capex of 13,307 crore for financial year 26 for Mahan phase 2 and 3, Raigarh phase 2, Mirzapur and Kawai phase 2 and Korba phase 3. In this connection, company announced upcoming greenfield project of 1600 megawatt per unit at a cost of $2 billion and the tariff of 5.38 per unit in UP. whether the company will further increase its capex for financial year 26 for the new announcement in UP. Please share your thoughts, sir. Sir, it is noted that our PLF and PF and sales in billion units during the year was 71%. Last year it was 65% and 91% PF, and last year it was 92% and 96 billion units. Last year it was 79 billion units. What is the current trend and your expectation for the whole year? Sir, it is noted from page 391-92 that the company made further investment of 167 crore in the equity and 192.08 crore in the optionally convertible debentures in Mahan Energy Limited. But note 5.1, page 393 mentioned the investment as 46 crore only. What is the reason for such difference? Page 393 mentioned the name of the company as Mahan Energy Limited, whereas in the other passage it is mentioned as Mahan Energy Limited. And sir, it is noted from page 795. I have two queries, sir. 795, that Reliance Industries entered into 20-year PPA for 500 megawatt, and in order to avail the benefit of captive unit, invested 50 crore in B equity shares and 100 crore in 12% B OCDs of the company during the year. Could you please share with us the difference between B equity share and ordinary equity share of the company? Whether they have any right to appoint any director on MEL board? When will the supply will start? And sir, what prompted the management to buy 100% equity of Anuppur Thermal Energy MP Private Limited for 211.03 crore? It is in page 391 and 94 from Adani Infra Private Limited, paying a hefty premium of 14.90 per share for a company which is yet to start commercial production. Whether through this transaction, the company helped another group company to book huge profit of more than 120 crore at our cost. This type of accounting gives a wrong signal. Would you please share your thoughts in this respect? And sir, the company during the year created two foreign subsidiaries, namely Adani Power Middle East Limited and Adani Power Global Private Limited, with a minuscule equity contribution. Whether the company is thinking of entering global power market during the coming months. And sir, lastly, it is reported that there will be privatization of discoms of many states will take place, like in UP, Rajasthan, and others. Whether our company will bid for the proposed privatization of discoms, your view in this regard is required. And lastly, sir, recently MCX gets a SEBI nod to launch electricity derivative. Would you please share your thoughts in this aspect? Thank you, Sardana sir, for allowing me to complete my note. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you, Tamal. Thank you. Let me start with the order in which we got the questions. Tamalda, you have raised a lot of points, so maybe all of these would need to be perhaps responded later, but let me start with the point that some of the other shareholders also raised, which is related to Bangladesh. So the power supply to Bangladesh, you raised 2 points, rightly so, that the amount that was due as receivables had increased to a very large sum, and you quoted the last quarter's discussion, which was around 900 million. Those are also right numbers. The good news is that Bangladesh, subsequent to that, has really rallied to liquidate the outstandings to a large extent, and they have committed that they will continue to work on it. As you rightly said, they had their own economics issue, their own issues of and challenges, but today as we talk, they have liquidated the large sum, which according to them covers up till March 2025. So therefore, it's only April, May billing that according to them is pending. As far as your issue related to late payment surcharge and those payments are concerned, we are reconciling the entire details, and those also we will pursue based on the understanding that we have as per contract. So, so the Bangladesh part, as of now, continues to be getting a positive response from their side. You also raised the point that in case or in the event of exigency, one was to deliver power to India from Goda, could that be possible? Well, the answer is, while the PPA clearly is connected to, PPA requires us to be connected to Bangladesh, and as of now, the lines are independent of India grid. However, we have taken approval from Government of India as a part of the special scheme of Government of India for us to have the possibility, and in the event there is exigency of the type that you mentioned, we can certainly explore and work on that policy. Right now, we are amidst a technical lookout for that solution, and we are working on the technical work related to that solution also. So that, as you mentioned, if the exigency was to happen, we will be able to mitigate our risk. So that point is correct to that extent. You asked about various issues related to the capex, organic 12,500 by 2030, very rightly mentioned, that's the target that we have. You said that even if you assume 6 crore a megawatt will be 75,000 crore, that one would need. But I thought you would have also done similar calculation in terms of the cash flow per year, and would have noticed that with the current fleet itself, the cash generation is good enough for us to manage financing that capex from within our internal resources. That's the thinking as of now, but we can have further discussion if you wish to have. You gave us some pen picture of the tariffs, paradigms that exist, including the merchant tariff paradigm that is there. The past part, what you read out, 560, 593 is what we could capture. These are all market-facing phenomena. Nobody can provide a specific guidance in terms of the fact what situation will pan out in the times ahead. We can only tell you that based on the outlook situation that we have between the demand growing and the supply side not growing at that same pace, particularly the base load situation, we personally feel that there is a good outlook for merchant market. However, you would have also seen from the table that we showed you for all the organic asset that we are adding, that we are working on the solution of classical PPA for each of those assets. So the capacity addition is being supported through the PPA that we will have. And once that is happening, naturally the assets which are low-cost assets of the past, it is our decision whether we would want to take them also through the long-term power purchase agreement route or keep some of the fleet for the merchant capacity. Since you are a very ardent follower of the sector, merchant capacity has two connotations. One is that we trade through the exchange. The other is that we work and dovetail it as a part of the solution for the large commercial and industrial customers. So the company is in talks to make sure that if somebody can assure our return profile, then the company could even look at those options which are not the typical PPAs, but will be an arrangement in which the company will be able to protect its returns, and therefore by virtue of that become a part of the solution for the large customers, which will improve the credibility, the creditworthiness, and therefore will be able to assure the company that the merchant part has got entangled into a long-term sustainable arrangement which will bring the desirable returns. You did mention about the coal discussion in the last quarter related to the coal quantum and that being used for the merchant, etc. I would leave that for the present in lieu of the answer that I gave you, because this is a dynamic situation that keeps changing, and we will be able to judiciously use our coal that's available to us for the capacities that we wish to keep competitive, and to a point that we wish to earn good margins by virtue of our cost of energy. At the same time, the market which is willing to give us the tariff of the kind that you mentioned for the past year, hopefully if those are higher or similar, one will continue to make good margins. You did mention about Mahan Capex and did mention about the UP contract. We can separately provide you some of the information, but the Mahan Capex, the UP Capex, all of that is already enshrined into our planning, and the whole set of details are completely hooked up, including the fact that we are good to go with regard to the fleet that we showed you, and the entire tie-up in terms of the internal resource generation, as also the capacities that we will seek from time to time to bridge the cash gaps between the generation of the cash versus the utilization of the cash through lenders that we will tie up. So that is the overall picture on that part. You talked about the PLF part and the fact that how the outlook looks like. I mentioned to you that we could achieve 70% PLF. Our availability was upwards of 85%, so that we lost not a single penny anywhere in terms of our recovery. We crossed 100 billion units. The outlook looks to be positive. None of the management members can predict the PLF. We can only say, based on the availability that we will provide, which will ensure that we get our money, we will wait for the grid demand to ultimately render the PLF out of that 85% plus availability that we would have given to the system. So we don't want to give any guidance on the PLF in the times ahead. One can only say that based on the internal demand profile that we see, we are hopeful that the PLF profiles are expected to be healthy. That's what we will give you in terms of the outlook that we see. Nice of you to have pointed out, as ever, minor details about somewhere we have written Mahan Energy. Clearly the name is Mahan Energen, and thanks for pointing it out. We will make sure that those mistakes are corrected. You did point out about Anuppur, and that's basically is the land that has been acquired from one of the Adani companies. It's a very prized possession today, and while you commented, and I'm not repeating those comments because we have done our work related to the arm's length transaction, we have done our work related to third-party independent valuation, and we have made sure that on all those counts, the Anuppur land acquisition is above board and very, very pricey. We are going to build facility on top of that. So for us, this is a very critical investment for us to eventually build a facility on top of that, for which we are already participating in different opportunities that are coming our way. You did comment on 2 foreign subsidiaries that we created, and you alluded to the fact, are we to look at opportunities? Well, it will suffice for me to say that the company continues to look at the opportunities outside, and we will continue to look at opportunities where we can bring for shareholders similar value as we have demonstrated in the Indian paradigms. And if such an opportunities come our way, we need to be prepared for it. And that's exactly the reason why we have created these setups, so that we are not found wanting when that facility has to be responded to. You mentioned about DISCOM privatization and electricity derivatives. Tamalda, it will be useful for me to bring to your notice that the issues related to DISCOM privatization is dealt by another group company, which is Adani Energy Solutions Limited. And similarly, the electricity derivatives, etc., is part of the trading aspects that people have to take positions. And as of now, it's a decision that the trading company and the parent of that trading company, which is Adani Energy Solutions Limited, will deal with that in association with the other companies, subject to their board approvals, subject to their committee approvals, and keeping the transactions above board. So that is the critical path. As generating company, Adani Power's interest will be to make sure that our return profile remains protected. And therefore, whatever positions, whatever support, whatever arrangements that we do, including, as I mentioned, tying up with some of the companies which will give us assurance of offtake, we would have locked in our returns. We will have made sure that somebody guarantees our returns, and their credit profile is better than the credit profile of some of the state discoms. Coming to, so those are some of the questions. If by any chance I have missed out, though I meticulously noticed, but you were very fast, so therefore pardon me for having missed anything. You may please approach us. We will be happy to respond to your balance points if they are there.